Hello, everyone. Super excited to be here. What an event this is going to be. NRF 2025. New York City doesn't get bigger than this, so you can see sense my excitement here today. But I'm even more excited to bring to you a very remarkable story of an e-commerce transformation of the towel shop. And I'm going to walk you through that story real quick, and then we're gonna have some really amazing conversation with this amazing panel I have with me today. So I'm Varun Nera. I head customer success and solutions at Netlify. This presentation is brought to you by Netlify. And Netlify is a platform that really automates deployment, hosting, and scaling of web applications, so storefronts basically. And really, we're in the business of getting you incredible speed to market while lowering your total cost of ownership for e-commerce. So a little bit about Towel Shop, their vision. They started reimagining how they would go to market and really strive for exponential growth. And that came with, well, can we hit exponential online conversions? Can we connect our online to our in-store experience? And can we have really that true omni-channel experience? But there were some challenges along the way, right, Christopher? And those challenges started with like, okay, we're on an ERP monolith. How do we really get into that scalable commerce? They had this dependency for marketing and merchandising, wanting to do things faster than IT could. So how do we give them more self-service? And then they were also really struggling with slow engineering velocity because they wanted to really innovate and go to market faster. So what do? So basically, the first thing they did was, let's break down that monolith into modular. So they took that customer journey, they broke it down into experiences. They took those experiences, broke them down into capabilities. They broke that further down into features that then they could enable as part of their e-commerce storefront. So this sort of nested doll approach really helped them go. And there's this pattern that you can apply with a monolith, that you take a monolith and you can break it down into services over time, and it's called really a strangler pattern. You're really strangling the monolith there, and you're getting to really incremental sort of way of building a more services-oriented architecture. Then came real composable commerce. So they had this thing on the left-hand side, big ERP monolith that was running like this disjointed experience between content and storefront, two different UIs. They really moved over, did the headless e-commerce transformation, added that composable layer in the middleware, and then CMS, e-commerce, search all came together. When they were able to do all of this, they could really unify the experience. Now, content and commerce was really unified across all devices and channels, and this really unlocked some potential. And the results speak for themselves. So first things first, incredible performance boost by moving to Netlify. When you deploy it on Edge, CDN, and static hosting, you get incredible page performance. So almost 10x in terms of page speed improvement. Conversion rates anticipated more than 20%, average order value more than 25%, and of course, customer satisfaction more than 10%. So with that, I'm going to turn to my panel here. We're joined here today with Christopher to my far left. He's social distancing a little bit. He's a little bit under the weather, and he's a chief information officer at the Towel Shop, and he's also an Orbi Award winner. Congratulations, Christopher. Matt Bielman, CEO and co-founder of Netlify. He's also recently named in the top 50 CEOs, software CEOs by the Software Report. So congrats, Christopher. That's right, Matt. And then Hannah, SVP of Corporate Marketing, Sitecore, and amazing work at Sitecore. You just crossed 500 million annual recurring revenue. What a milestone.
Absolutely.
Great. All right. So let's dive into it. Christopher, I would just start with you. If you want to tell us a little bit about Towel Shop, your operations, your scale, the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. So the Tile Shop is a specialty retailer, 142 locations, 4 DCs across most of the United States, continue to look to expand over time. We're also an online retailer, and just really excited to help people transform their homes. That's really what we're doing, is we're helping them make their home look the way they want it. Tile is an amazing thing. People have shown me more pictures of their bathrooms than I can even begin to tell you. And now we're carrying other products, all hard surface flooring, luxury vinyl, as well as laminate, as well as engineered woods, pretty much everything but true hardwood, and carpeting, heavens forbid. But, through doing that, we're able to really make that difference in people's lives. And I don't know, when you go home, having a relaxed environment to be in is really what we're all about. So that's what we do. And we're very, very high-end, service oriented, as opposed to the big box retailers that exist out there. So that's really who the Tile Shop is.
Thank you. Yeah, puts things into perspective. I'm a customer. I love your product. So yeah, it's stuff I can't find anywhere. I find at Tile Shop. So yeah, Matt, if you want to give us a little bit about Netlify, who we are, what we do.
Yeah, so you gave some of sort of the practical details, right? Like, when I've always believed that the web is one of humanity's greatest inventions of all time. It's like this incredibly shared platform set of standards that allows anyone, person or business, to register a domain, make that their online home, and instantly reach all of humanity and every connected device through a URL, with full control over what they put in that URL and how they built there. So Netlify has always been about helping the developers that built for the web get their code on a URL with the least friction possible and reach as many people as possible with the highest performance and infinite scalability.
Thank you. And Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we had more than 40 billion requests served in a single day. And most of this being e-commerce, that's like running 2 Amazon Prime days at once on a single day. That's pretty remarkable.
Since we launched almost 10 years ago, we've onboarded more than 6 million developers to the platform, and we are now reaching more than 1 billion unique visitors to the site stores and apps running on our network every single month.
It's incredible. Anna, Sitecore, I've been a partner, I've been a customer, I've been a partner. So yeah, my journey with Sitecore goes way back. I'd love to hear from you. How would you describe Sitecore in the ecosystem?
We have an absolutely incredible ecosystem. It brings such energy to the brand. But Sitecore is a digital experience platform. It's trusted by visionary brands like a Tile Shop, Cracker Barrel, Pet Supplies Plus, brands like L'Oreal and United, Microsoft, Nestle. And our focus is on really connecting that content operations, that content lifecycle to that end user experience across all those touch points across commerce. And that digital experience platform includes content management, it includes digital asset management, commerce, intelligence search, and really bringing all of those elements together to create those incredible consumer experiences that convert.
All the key ingredients for really experience-led commerce, right? And all broken down to make up that composable stack. So you pick and choose what you really want to work with and just how much of it you want to work with. If you just want product discovery, just go in search, right? If you want just a dam, you can just get a dam. Or you can buy the full platform and get e-commerce and all of it kind of powering you. And that's, I think, what Christopher, you decide to do. And to kind of move this forward, and actually I wanted to look back before we look ahead, because I think this will be interesting for the audience to see. So if you want to tell us about your journey and perhaps tell us what's going on this whiteboard here. And you and I were in the room and we did this. I think it'll be an awesome story for the audience.
So one of the things that I'm a big believer in is making sure that you understand your business first and foremost. Technology is just a means to an end. And so what I was trying to do is articulate how things work from a Tile Shop perspective. So you have that customer in the middle, And then you have our products, because without our products, it's just impossible to do what we do. We bring product from 35 different countries across the world and import them all. So as we think about all of those things, we build out the business, and then we think about how that might connect to the technologies. And what I ultimately knew is that if we don't focus first on the customer and then the products, then everything else just kind of gets lost. And so it was really that conversation of trying to lay out the flow and the capabilities in our business. And then we started drawing out what the systems work. And it was kind of messy, as you can see. Whiteboards are that way, but that's the fun part, right?
Yeah, but we made it really nice and clean. So this is like a more detailed version of what you saw earlier. Is how do you kind of identify those core capabilities, and who is the provider of that core capability? And I think just coming out of that, I love that you put customer in the center. You have multiple segments. You have a pro, you have a customer, you have your storefront, and then the product assortment. All that really came together. So yeah, I think looking again, kind of continuing that, Matt, you want to tell us about like what does it mean to be composable, right? What is a composable architecture? What does that mean in the context of what Netlify does?
So when I think about the composable architectures and the goal of them, like I've always thought about it first of all from the perspective of like how can you take the actual experiences you're building for customers and decouple those from all the different infrastructure building blocks that sits behind them and power the back end. Right? Like for a long time, those things were typically grouped together. You would buy some e-commerce platform and the actual transaction engine and the user experience on top of that would be bundled together. Or you would buy a content management system and the actual content engine and the experience on top of it would be tightly bundled together. And I think one of the key purposes of composable is sort of to break those barriers and make sure that you can have these different components on the back end, on the infrastructure side, and then build multiple different customer-facing experiences on top of them and develop those two pieces independently of each other. And we've then focused on like, once you decouple that user experience, how can we help companies iterate it on it much faster? How can we help developers build much more engaging experiences with more flexibility and reach more people online? But to me, the core is this idea of decoupling the experiences you build from all these different components and backend infrastructure that goes into powering them.
I think of it as being agile and faster. Yeah, because that's what you ultimately need.
Yeah, and harnessing innovation and growth faster. So when COVID happened, Bopus showed up. How quickly could you pivot and offer that capability to your customers? Now, if you were composable and you have a provider, and then, for example, buy now, pay later shows up and you want to integrate them as a payment provider, how quickly can you offer that and beat your competition? So it totally makes sense. I think along the same lines, when we were thinking, Hannah, about unified experience, what does composability and Sitecore kind of offer that? And even like some of your other customers who are really on this path of really becoming more composable.
Yeah, and this has been an interesting journey for Sitecore because we historically have had that monolithic solution, and that still is absolutely the right solution for some brands, for some retailers and customers. But over the last few years, we've been really focused on building out that composable solution. So we now have mature solutions across composable SaaS and market. For Sitecore, that means we can innovate a lot faster and just move the needle. But on the customer front, it means that they can actually move ahead further faster. They can roll out one element, one solution at a time and like those needs in market.
Yeah, and I see this a lot with your customers, like Nestle and others, where you have a house of brands, and every brand and a business unit has their own needs around technology. But how do they all play in the same sandbox, right? And play nicely in that same sandbox. So yeah, I think moving this a little bit further, right? We did that. It was amazing. Congratulations on going live. Christopher, the page speeds are incredible. You're seeing some uptick in signups and maybe more add to carts and things like that. But kind of looking past all of that to say, well, what can you do now because you're, very flexible and composable that you couldn't do before? Like, what are you imagining for your business now?
So we mentioned before that omnichannel is something that we're in the middle of, and it's an experience that we believe we can deliver this year, which is really exciting, in order to really make that cart portable, really being able to have the store start the process and then pick it up in online, or vice versa, where it's online and you can go to the store and finish the transaction, whether it's just favorites or whether it's carts or whatever the case may be. I also think that product adjacencies, we're moving really fast with product, and it's actually, we've carried tile for 30 years, and now in 1 year, we're adding 4 different product adjacencies. And on top of that, customer adjacencies. We believe that there's opportunity across our customer base and new customer bases. And we think that we'll be able to do that and go to market maybe as much as 50% faster as it relates to a different customer segment that wants an entirely different experience than someone that is more of a retail or maybe think of it as a professional installer designer. So those are the kinds of things that we really see.
So the pro, I think, is an interesting one, because the pro experience is really taking you into that B2B category. And while you said 50% faster, I think you're also going to do it 50% cheaper, right? Yeah. You're going to be able to build it much cheaper because the back end is completely built out and all you're building is a new user experience, right?
But there's also things like commercial business or large business to business. Most of our business today is more in the small. Think of maybe a 6,000 apartment complex. Being able to do that type of business.
Wow.
It's a very different type of business, but the customer should be able to translate as long as we get the right experience.
Yeah. And the technology is ready to power all of it. That's incredible. Matt, kind of along the same lines, right? How do you imagine unlocking new business opportunities? Just kind of listening to the story of like where Netlify is applied and where your customers are able to do similar things.
So the most important for us is to kind of get developers working in those customer superpowers, right? Like we want customers to be able to go incredibly fast from inspiration to production, to take new ideas, to react to market changes or to new opportunities like AI starting to transform what your customers will expect to meet when they go to a website, and set our customers up to have a core iteration speed and an ability to build that allows them to quickly respond to those challenges, and then give them the full flexibility of knowing that core infrastructure is future-proof in a sense, right? Like that whenever a new technology comes around, there'll probably be an API for it that you can plug into from your decoupled front end and start building on top of, and that we can give our customers that ability to innovate and to react and to stay relevant to their customer base.
And that reminds me of our customer, VF Corporation.
Yeah.
You want to tell a little bit about them? They're doing some incredible. They own Timberlands, Vans, the North Face, and they're doing like the big 3 migration. And I think they had like 1 billion visits a year across their storefronts. You want to tell a little bit about their story?
Yeah, I mean, they've been a customer for a while now, right? Like going through a similar, like, big re-architecting process to really give them the flexibility to execute across a whole set of different brands with that needs to look and feel and behave differently, right? Like that's the whole idea of having different brands, but with a core set of technologies that can support all of them, right? Like, Netlify has, of course, been a key part of giving them like a consistent front-end development platform across all of those, using our Connect product to breach the borders between stuff, older non-composable systems like Salesforce Commerce Cloud and so on, and modern fully composable systems get a single data endpoint for the developers that they can easily iterate on and build on top of, and help them increase increase the quality of the experience that their customers are getting when they meet them online, and help them give this safety that when we get 40 billion requests over a cyber weekend, that the site stays fast and responsive.
Yeah. Yep. And Hannah, at Sitecore, you're doing some amazing things. Kind of, you want to talk a little bit about like how are you bringing like the innovation and looking beyond like, okay, now you're composable. What's next? You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I think we're going to talk about AI in just a minute. But
How can we not talk about AI?
but before you get there, and there's a lot of different ways to transform that shopper experience. I mean, the tile shop had your path to get to the stage that you're at now. With that composable option. Do you start with the web experience? Do you start with e-commerce? Do you actually start, with a more intelligent search option within your existing infrastructure first? And we're seeing with, different retail customers is their priorities are, it's different. And we really, they have the flexibility to start where they can really see the biggest impact right away.
So I'm going to kind of continue on that thread, and I really want to hear about this, right? So we'll go this way around this side, but what excites you about the future, right? Because I know you guys are working on some really cool stuff.
Yeah, I think that the answer across every industry is AI. When we think about what that means for a retail experience or that consumer brand experience, we're doing some really exciting things right now with Nestle, bringing AI into that content lifecycle process so they can get to market faster. So AI-powered brand assistance so that marketers can interact directly with the brand, learn about the brand, learn about those brand values or the brand colors, but then be able to deliver on-brand assets really quickly into market because it's been trained on all of their brand-approved content. So really streamlining that, the ability to execute those campaigns across multiple brands and host of brands.
And I saw their case study, incredible scale of operations, and I think they were part of your pilot for what is now Sitecore Stream.
Yes.
And that is fully AI-enabled content operations, and you just dump a bunch of your content assets in there and let the magic happen. And you ask it any question, it gives you exactly the answer. Okay, what color palette? What are my brand guidelines? What is my tone of voice? What asset should I be using? It gives you everything. So I'm like super excited about that, seeing that in market. But Matt, some of the innovation, Netlify is driving. You want to tell us about like what excites you? I mean, you're really in the thick of it. San Francisco, right? Silicon Valley, and every founder.
And I was you joke with some like completely contrarian answer that didn't include AI at all. But sadly, I have to come in and say like AI is obviously also like one of the key disruptive powers that we're looking at and tapping into. And I think in two different ways. The first is just like the pure acceleration that we get from AI, right? Like I talked about iteration speeds and the importance of being able to ship fast and react fast. But imagine that like the amount of code your teams can produce goes up 10x. The amount of content your teams can produce goes up 10x. The amount of assets and design goes up 10x. The throughput goes up by an order of magnitude. Those capabilities of being able to iterate fast becomes absolutely essential to even just like keep up and not be run over by competitors that can iterate at the maximum speed that this will unlock. But at the same time, like what we see right now is like using that speed and that acceleration to build the things we've been building for the last couple of decades faster, right? Like, and the next thing that's really fascinating to me is kind of like, what are the new kind of experiences on the web that AI will unlock that we couldn't build 2 years ago, right? Like, what are the kind of experiences we'll start discovering that we can start innovating that really like changes what it means to go to a website and meet some brand or some business, right? Like, what are the new interactive paradigms we can unlock when computers suddenly have agency, right? Like, so far computers have been like deterministic machines where the UIs is like you press a button, it does something specific, you click a link, something happens. one of the biggest disruptive factors of AI is this idea that computers suddenly have agency and can go off and do things and trigger transactions. And I don't think we have at all started even realizing how that's going to transform our user interaction paradigms and the kind of experiences that people will expect from us. So that's probably what I'm the most interested in. Like, what do we need to do as Netlify to make our platform like the place where that innovation happen, and to make our customers feel like that they are future-proof, right? Like that they are in a place where they can keep up with this amount of change that's going to happen in the next 5 years.
Yeah, some of the stuff I've seen from like our partners, like agentic experiences are going to be incredible, where you're just going from an idea to a concept to production in like minutes. Also, conversational commerce seems to be really taking hold. I think that is another key area. But I think the immediate place there, would you say, is like customer service, or what do you think is like the direct application? Like, who is really going to benefit in the retail industry, like from all of the greatness? And maybe that's a question for Christopher. And I know you have a great partner in Altudo. You're looking to do some incredible things that are just coming up. I'd love to hear, and I think the audience would love to hear what you're working on next.
So at the end of the day, what I get excited about is continual growth, right? And so for me, it's about figuring out what that customer needs and looking at the customer, listening to them, and then delivering it in an experience that works. You know, it may be as simple as just being able to text back and forth. It may be as complicated as being able to allow a transaction to flow through multiple channels. But at the end of the day, it's really about getting more people to understand more about the products that we have and being able to market them and sell them in a way that ultimately they are happy with the experience that they have with the tile shop and in their home. You know, as we think about things that we can do, the things that worked really, really well for the tile shop were making sure that we were all aligned. It was critical that we were aligned. From the board, they had expectations of growth, to the executive team, to the core team proposing the solution in partnership with Altudo, as with Sitecore, and ultimately Netlify as well. And really just making sure that everybody worked together and understood the outcome that we were looking for. We weren't trying to be miracle workers, but we knew what the outcome should be at the end of the day. We've done that. Now the next step is to set those next visions, which we've just done around omnichannel and working through our content development and working through a number of things that some people might think are very simplistic, but for our industry are pretty great. And so we continue to look for that. And I would just say that, remember, when you're looking to accomplish things, be very clear on your outcome and your business objectives. Know who your customer is and what they want. If you don't do that, then you just got an expensive new system.
Fair enough. I know we're running up on the clock here. If you were to leave the audience with like one piece of advice in how they're looking to transform their business, their online experience, as question to everybody, just a one-liner, what would you recommend?
Don't underestimate, but stay aligned. Alignment. And as you do that, I think that you ultimately can deliver the results that you're promising with the partners that you engage. Everyone else wants to talk about AI. I don't want to talk about AI. What I want to talk about is the solutions that I get. And potentially it is AI from my partners,
Yeah.
I don't have enough time and resources to do my own work. So that's where I look to these great partners to help me. And so those are the kinds of things that I think about.
Thank you. Matt?
The cost of writing custom code and building your own user experience is about to go down by an order of magnitude because of AI. So be ready to set yourself up to be able to develop and iterate with as much flexibility as possible and as much speed as possible if you want to keep up with the type of acceleration about to happen in the next 5 years.
I guess what you're saying is ask more from your partners. If they say it's going to take 2 weeks, ask them to do it in 2 days. Why not? Right? It may be possible. Hannah?
I think I was just get started. I mean, you saw from the tile shop, it starts with this very complicated, whiteboard. But as you start to break it down, especially with composable solutions, different ways to drive that transformation, you have to take that first step.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody kind of taking the time, and what an incredible show. I'm sure everybody's got a busy day ahead. We will take some questions, but I know we're out of time. We'll hang out here and take questions. If you have any questions, let us know. But we're also at booth 739 for follow-up, so you can see us there, meet with the panelists, talk to them, and they're more experts who can show you demos and a bunch of other things. So thank you all, and hope you all enjoy the rest of the show.